What's up guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Now today I'm going to do something a little bit differently and do a bit of a Q&A really to tell a little bit more about myself, about my journey as well. I find it so interesting to understand other people's journeys, where they come from, how they got to where they are, and a little bit more about them as a person. So I'm hoping to share a little bit more about myself. I asked a question poll on my Instagram about a week ago in regards to what some of the questions are you guys asked. Some of them are quite funny on there, but I've got a whole lot of them written down at the moment. Some are quite basic. So yeah, let's get stuck in. So first one is my full name, Peter John Day, super long name. I grew up in Sydney, Australia, actually in the hills area, and I lived there for around about 21 years before I moved out to the northern beaches in Sydney, where I've been for around about 8 years or so now. So you can do the maths. I'm actually 29 next week. So I absolutely love the northern beaches here. If you are from Sydney or been to Sydney, this is from Manly up to Palm Beach. It's a beautiful part of the world. It's a really chilled area. Everyone loves the fitness here. Everyone's super nice here, which I love. It's got that community feeling to it. So I love all of Australia. I love Melbourne, Gold Coast, Perth, so many areas in between as well, of course, but Australia is home for me, but I do love traveling at the same time. Ever since I was a kid, I kind of knew I wanted to get into business. I find it really interesting in regards to running a business, understanding how it all works, understanding all the different elements to it as well. So when I was about 14, 15, I knew I wanted to get into marketing, because for me that was an area to get into business. I was actually looking at marketing and finance. I thought finance was a little bit boring, so I kind of chose the marketing route, and it kind of goes into consumer psychology, which I love. I'll be honest, if I wasn't into fitness, I'd probably be in psychology. I think it's such an interesting place to be in, to understand how people operate, what are their motives, understanding how they got to where they are, understanding what drives them, what doesn't drive them, how they're thinking in terms of their brain functioning, all the rest of it. I find that super intriguing. So if I wasn't doing this, I'd probably be doing that. And to be totally honest with you, marketing actually is kind of psychology in the sense of businesses and consumer psychology. So again, understanding that, why people buy certain things, why some people will just be driven to a certain brand based on just the branding itself, those kind of things I find really, really interesting, and that's kind of what led me down that path. I actually studied marketing at university with I studied commerce with a double major of marketing and international business, which got me into my first graduate role in marketing itself. At the same time, I've been training for fitness and health my whole life. I actually had a background as a bit of an athlete. I did soccer and swimming amongst basically every single sport: tennis, rugby, water polo, running, when I was a kid, but they were the two that I really excelled at. So after I finished university, I actually worked in recruitment for a year and a half before I landed my role in marketing as a grad. Worked there for 6.5 years, and obviously during that time, I actually started my first business, which was an F45, my first proper business. I did some other ones when I was at uni, which weren't huge successes, to be totally honest with you. It was more kind of mucking around with it, but did them in tandem. So I did them at the same time, and then after 3 years of doing that, mid last year, I decided to leave my corporate role and then go just into my own businesses, which has been really rewarding, super challenging, which I love. I think that if you put yourself in a position where you are challenged day in, day out, most people more than often succeed or do well or figure things out. And I think that when you put yourself in a position where you're in the deep end and you're really trying to work through it, you'll learn so much faster, whether it's in a role that you just started, whether it's in an industry that you're getting into, whether it's with a diet. I just think that that's such a good way to learn, and learn quickly, and really having to understand the entire process. So I've loved it. I've got so many big ideas coming up as well, but that's a little bit of my background and what I want to be when I'm older. When I was starting university, I got a role at Rebel Sport, which is a sporting goods company in Australia as well. So I used to work in footwear, selling shoes. So think Nike, New Balance, Asics, Adidas, those kind of things. So I did that for 3 years. Had a bit of a knack for selling there as well. They had a whole bunch of records on the board, which I was always trying to beat every day. I was in there and stuff like that. So in my element though, just talking to people about what they're doing for training, what they're doing at the gym, what they're doing for running. So I got to do that day in, day out, which I absolutely loved. So as a background, I played a lot of sports. So I played soccer, running, swimming, as I kind of said earlier. So for me, it was kind of a natural transition, to be totally honest with you. When you're kind of training for those things, you get into the gym just to try to improve your performance. So I started going to the gym because my swimming coach said to me about at 16 years old that it'd be good to get some extra strength, which will help me through the water. So I started training about 2 to 3 times a week. Had no idea, did a bit of a bro split. When I got there, so I was doing kind of shoulders, legs, chest, didn't really know what I was doing. And just got stuck into it at a young age. As a 16-year-old, started following a few guys on YouTube at the time because Instagram wasn't around, and following their training programs. one of the guys I used to follow a lot was Steve Cook, actually. So I used to almost watch his piece and then basically do the workout that afternoon in the gym. Got into it that way. As I got a little bit older, I ditched swimming when I was about 18 and was offered a paid contract for soccer. So I played semi-professionally with soccer, running, and gym was pretty much what I was doing from 18 through to 23. And then in my off season, I used to almost drop running altogether and just try to put on some size, and that was basically what I was doing. So it takes a long time to kind of get your head around it, but that's when I started really researching around what is hypertrophy, how to do progressive overloads, how to improve our body, how to increase my strength and nutrition. That was probably about 18, 19. From there, I actually quit soccer at 23, and that's when I started going into personal training and started training some clients as well at the gym. Just very small at that stage. I was still working full time and didn't really know what I wanted to do. From there, I then, at 24 years old, actually bought my first business in the fitness industry, which was my F45 at Seaforth. And for me, that was going from having a couple of clients to really going all in the fitness industry. And that was for just over 4 years ago now, and haven't turned back since, and keep wanting to progress myself and keep getting involved with it. It was only last year that I actually quit my job to be full-time focused into it, but I've been involved in fitness, I suppose, from a very young age. I love being outside. I love moving. I love sport. I watch English Premier League, actually. I'm a Manchester United fan, so this season and last season suck, but I love it anyway. I'm actually a Ronaldo fan, so I've been going to be watching a lot of the Champions League, not watching it, but been keeping a really close eye on it. But huge soccer fan, obviously, got a background in there. I'm a huge tennis fan. I watch the Oz Open and watch all the Opens, basically. I think they're awesome. Love surfing. We have a bit of a fantasy surfing league, and obviously being so close here, it's very close to my heart, and I love doing it myself. But yeah, huge sports fan, massive passion of mine. I'm hugely passionate about businesses. I love it. I could talk to people all day around, marketing within your business. Big ideas excite me, to be totally honest with you. When someone comes to me and starts talking some big ideas they're having, I get really pumped up about it. Even if it's got nothing to do with fitness, health, or anything else that I'm doing. If someone really wants to go for it, passion drives passion, and you feed off that energy. So I'm a huge fan of that one as well. So businesses, my friends and family, obviously I love going out, hanging out, spending time with them and just having a laugh with them. I think that's really, really important, of course. Obviously health and fitness. I love bettering yourself as a person, whether it be mentally, physically, emotionally. It's so important. So for me, self-help is really, really important. I think one day I would love to become like a life coach for people, or I don't know exactly what that looks like, but one day I'd love to be able to sit down with people or do seminars or workshops where it's very much around, trying to develop them as a person. So I like to think of myself as being well-rounded. I know that most of you would probably see me in the health and fitness space specifically, but I love businesses, I love marketing, I love to have a well-rounded life in terms of being happy. So obviously, I've got these goals around my businesses and my health and fitness and all the rest of it, but at the same time, you need to make sure that what's important to you is your friends, family, and having a wellness. That's more important, actually, than all those other accolades or things that you're trying to work towards. And I'm always in that hustler kind of mindset. For me, I'm just getting started. I've got so many other big ideas and things that I want to achieve. So it's just kind of the starting point where I am at the moment. Big ideas, big plans, that kind of stuff really excites me. I think that when someone comes to me or has a chat to me, or they've got these huge ideas and they're really going for it, that's a motivator for me and for them as well. So I'm really a big fan of that one. So big ideas, big plans, and having big goals as well. I think that it's not so much whether you get there, yes or no. It's about the journey, about getting there. When you've got big ideas, it makes you do things you probably wouldn't normally do in order to get there. So long as it's in a good way and in a nice way, if you keep working towards that, you are going to be basically bettering yourself as a person and doing some pretty cool stuff as well. So those are the kind of things that excite me, and just having a lot of fun and all the rest of it, of course. I think it's a really big thing. I guess for me, I've got my two businesses, F45s I should say, Seaforth and Chatswood in Sydney, so my focus is on them in terms of growing them and having an amazing team and group of people around, which I think is really exciting. My Lift by Day business is a huge thing for me, where we've been open for a year now, which has gone so quickly. So we got some new products in the pipeline for that one. We've just started 8-week challenges, which is super, super exciting. I've just launched an app, which is a fitness app, which is called Oyana, which is really, really exciting. We've been working on that for about 8 or 9 months, trying to get all the videography together, trying to pull the workout plans together. So I've got my first ever at-home program, which I've been wanting to release through that Oyana app, and I've got an at-gym program. So you can not only watch them in terms of the video sense, we also do the audio sense as well. Also, I've got Active Escapes. We've got a lot of stuff happening with Muscle Republic. So for me, I've got so many things on at the moment, so it's just about making them work as best as I can. I'm going to be producing more content as well because I love doing it. Plus, I think it's got so many benefits to it as well. So for me, it's just really working hard with what I got now and trying to maximize everything, and at the same time having a good work-life balance. That's super important for me and super crucial. So I'm hoping to have them in place, work efficiently when I am working, have some time off in between. I'm probably been quite guilty when I was working full-time and having my own businesses at the same time about not having much time off. I was probably doing 70 hours a week, whereas now I'm hoping to keep it at, a reasonable level where I'm still working really hard, everything I want to be doing, but at the same time giving myself enough of an opportunity to refresh, relearn, and re-educate myself and continue to grow as a person, because that's what it's all about. I think I'm just getting started with a few things and I'm just super excited. Thanks guys so much for watching my YouTube video. If you love this one, let me know down below. I would love to do another one as well, maybe with some more questions. I might put one up on my Instagram and see what other ones come up. Maybe I'll make it less fitness related in that one as well. But thanks so much for watching guys. Have an epic day. If you love my content, please subscribe down below and I'll catch you guys soon.